Thank you for the honor of participating in Chancellor Green's investiture today. I'd like to spend my entire allotted time saying complimentary things about him, for I have been a fan of Chancellor Green's for a very long time. But he's asked me to go a bit broader than that and talk about a few subjects other than his own compelling attributes, so I will attempt to do that. I would just start out on a very broad area of discussion by saying that what the world needs now is leadership. I have never been so concerned about the lack of leadership that we've had in this world, not just in the United States, but throughout the world over the last decade or so. That has to be fixed. And hopefully UNL will begin to turn out some people who have great leadership attributes and will play their role in providing the leadership that the world needs today. But that's a subject for someone else to develop. Let's return to the edge of academia and talk about some of the major challenges that might be faced by UNL and Chancellor Green in the coming years. Starting with the teaching side, we have a need to turn out undergraduate students and grad students who are prepared for the jobs of the 21st century and not the jobs of the 20th century. That is a formidable challenge for every institution, notwithstanding here in Nebraska that we already have a very fine faculty. What has happened in the last 20 or 30 years is that technology has simply exploded. And that means we're trying to prepare students for jobs that haven't even appeared yet. But they will appear in the next 5, 10, or 15 years. That's a difficult challenge when one is trying to anticipate what the needs of one's students will be. Chancellor Green will respond to that, I hope, by simply making sure that he has lots of faculty that are on the cutting edge of technology in their respective areas, and they can inculcate their students with all that technology as possible before they graduate. But it's not simply technology. It's also the fact that the world has become so complex. If one looks at agriculture, for example, that term is so much broader today than it was when I was Secretary of Agriculture 30 years ago. Now we have controversies over GMOs, over antibiotics, over the way animals are treated, over the way we handle conservation programs, and the list goes on and on. It's agriculture, food, feed, and a whole lot of other subjects that are combined into that term today. And if we're turning out ag graduates, we have to try to prepare them for that kind of world. Chancellor Green understands that challenge very well, and I'm sure we'll be turning out first-rate students at UNL who will be able to handle the explosions of technology and the complexities of the world in which they're going to live and work. And then there's research. And I compliment the University of Nebraska for doing an excellent job of increasing research funding over the last 20 years or so. That's been an excellent record. And I also feel really good about being able to apply research throughout the Nebraska economy. If one looks at agriculture, once again, we have a sophisticated group of agricultural producers in Nebraska, growing crops on some of the richest land in the world, having an underground water supply that is the envy of everyone, and they are quick adapters of research. But on the non-agricultural side, the same thing applies. In Omaha, we have a gem. In my view, the economic environment in Omaha, the business environment, is the best of any that exists between Chicago and the West Coast. With companies like Berkshire Hathaway, Union Pacific, Ameritrade, Keynote, Valmont, Lindsay, and a whole lot of others. We have companies already that are immensely internationally competitive. So on the research side, we simply need to stay ahead of the game. And hopefully the University of Nebraska will do that, targeting some research that will help Nebraska's agricultural firms and the non-agricultural firms to be out ahead of everyone else. Putting all that together, I'm really confident about the future of UNL. In Chancellor Green, you have a leader who is visionary, but is also decisive, and a leader who understands every challenge that I've articulated today. Now, some people will say, oh, come on now, you'll never be able to compete with the top schools in the Big Ten. You sure won't be able to compete with the Ivy League schools. I don't concur with that. In my view, we should never, ever downgrade or denigrate the potential that the University of Nebraska has and the potential that the state of Nebraska has. I've hired a lot of Ivy League graduates in my day, and I can tell you that if you will line up two resumes side by side, approximately equal, one an Ivy Leaguer and one a Midwesterner like UNL, I will always pick the Midwesterner or the UNL graduate, because I know that 9 times out of 10, that graduate will outwork the Ivy Leaguer. And money isn't everything either. The question is the overall living environment that one provides for faculty and for students. And I see no reason why Nebraska should take a backseat to anyone in that regard. So in summary, I feel really good about the future of UNL and really good about the overall future of the state of Nebraska and its citizens. I wish Chancellor Green the very best. In my opinion, about 24 hours after he finishes this investiture, he'll be rated as one of the top leaders in the Big Ten and one of the top leaders in the land grant system. That will work to Nebraska's advantage in so many ways in the coming years. Thank you again for permitting me to be a part of this program. Good luck to all of you in the future, and God bless.